In this example, we learn how to use two-way data table. In the previous example, we have used one-way data table to calculate for this couple, Mary and Joe, their monthly payment for different amount of down payment. Now, Mary and Joe in this problem wants to find out if they should wait a little bit for a possible decrease in the interest rate to either 4% or 3.5%. Now, in the previous example, the interest rate was 4.5%. Now, they want to know how much money they could save in terms of monthly payment if wait and one of those lower interest rate scenario happens. So in order to consider the joint effect of different down payment as well as the different interest rates, we could use two-way data table. But before we do that, let's review our basic model here. So we have a mortgage amount, and this is a down payment, which we will vary later on. And the loan amount is the difference between the mortgage amount and the down payment. The annual interest rate is in C6, which we will vary in the data table. And the number of payments remains constant, which is 180 months. To calculate monthly payment, if you recall, we use payment function. Now, we convert the annual rate into a monthly rate by dividing the annual rate with 12. Number of payments is in C7. The present value, that is the amount of the loan. And that's it. All the others are optional. So now we know monthly payment given the down payment of $10,000 and annual interest rate of 4.5%. Now let's study the different scenarios here. We have two different sources of variation. One is down payment and the other is interest rate. So I would first list the different scenarios for each. For down payment, we have from 10,000 to 50,000, and from interest rate, it can be as low as 3.5%, 4%, and 4.5%. Okay, now I could even give it a reminder by clearly labeling the rows and columns here. I could, for easy illustration, give it a border. Now, how do we study this data table, two-way data table? First of all, we need to link our objective function in this data table back to our original model. So we want to study the monthly payment. So we enter top left corner, we enter our linkage. So we link back to a monthly payment, which is C9. So with that filled, we select the whole table. We go to Data, What If Analysis, Data Table. Now that we see there are two sources of inputs needed, what is the row input? Excel asks. The row input basically are a series of interest rate, and they refer back to our model. And the columns are down payment, which in our original model is in cell C4. So once we enter the two allocations, we click OK. Now you can see that all the numbers are calculated immediately for you. Indeed, as you can see, when the interest rate drops, you start to pay lower amount, and if you pay more down payment, you get a lower monthly payment as well. Okay, so by doing that, Mary and Joe would be able to consider the different possibilities and make good decisions.